Hey everybody, Brian Von VA back at it again, coming at you with something brand new. Something I think will benefit almost every DM out there. What alternate settings universes from other games or movies have you homebrewed to use in 5th edition? Leave yours in the comments below. My ongoing project is to create a world which combines Dungeons & Dragons and Warhammer 40k, basically working from the top down as a neutral world that's neither grimdark or noble bright. It will also remain strictly fantasy with no space travel or plasma guns. And before a smartass speaks up, it's Warhammer 40k adopted into a D&D world, not Warhammer Fantasy, Age of Sigmar, or whatever post-end times bullshit Games Workshop is pulling out of their asses. If you're thinking that, you, or rather go to Slaanesh and let them do the deed with a new magicked orifice. Wow, strong belief already. I'm calm, deep breaths. Hey, I called it. Anyway, there will be the material realm, then the outside, where demons and chaos dwells, including the chaos gods. Each of the chaos gods is rebranded to emphasize their good side. Khorne is still all about war, but also about honor and nobility. Nobody in the setting will exclaim, "Blood for the Blood God!" Except for me, because I love Blood for the Blood God. Nurgle is the god of nature and change, not just diseases as he is in 40k. While he does brew the occasional monstrosity or plague, his domain is wider in here. Slaanesh is the god or goddess of excess hedonism as well as pleasure, the only one without changes. Tzeentch is the god of change, sorcery, and ambition. In this setting, he is the obligatory trickster god. Now for the races. Humans will remain the same, but there will be a massive cult at the center of their empire. It won't be a race of xenophobic bigots, but they will have a faction dedicated to the superiority of mankind. Elves are the parallel to Eldar, while Dark Elves and Drow can be Dark Eldar. I'm still struggling with where to put the Harlequins. They'll be their snobbish selves as per both settings and magical psychic powerhouses. The Dwarves are obviously a good fit for the 40k's League of Votann. Dwarves in space are still dwarves, so not much will change there. Rock and stone, everyone. Rock and stone. Tieflings will be interesting since they'll be spawned from chaos entities. I'm still working out the details, of course, but the stigma will still be ever present. Now for the more interesting races. The Morphics are a blend between D&D's changelings and 40k's chaos demons, a semi-fluid race of shapeshifters that values knowledge and enlightenment, taking new appearances often to gain new experiences and to blend into any environment that they're in. They also are often disruptive, leading to societal change or collapse in extreme situations. The Luminaries are a fusion of Gith and Tau. They dwell in their isolated islands, live in cities that are in perfect balance with nature, and are naturals at channeling energies and inventing new things. Now for some nightmare fuel! I merged Mind Flayers and Tyranids into psionic bugs. While Mind Flayers transform others into more of their own through tadpoles, Tyranids convert others into pools of biomass to create more of their own. Putting these two horrific dark fates together, we get the Psionids. I hope I said that correctly. These psychic bugs dwell in the dark and isolated places and reproduce by releasing an enzyme into other creatures' bodies that transforms them into more Psionids. Finally, everybody's favorite machines, Warforged and Necrons. I combined them to become Echo-Forged, immortal living constructs infused with arcane energy, born of lost technology and necromancy. They seek to understand and fulfill their purpose so they can finally free their souls of their living metal shells. And there you have it, everything I've got so far. It's a work in progress, and if you have any suggestions, please put them in the comments here. I'd love to hear them. So would we. So there's no way to explain this fully without there being questions, but I've run this game more than once, so I'll do my best to keep it short. Simply put, the idea here is a crossover between the Rooster Teeth 3D animated series RWBY and the originally Westwood produced RTS franchise Command & Conquer. Set At the beginning of the year 2047 by Earth's calendar, the two worlds are soon to learn of one another, seemingly for the first time, due to an accident that results in cadets from a GDI military academy being teleported from Earth to Remnant. Without an immediate way home, and basically dumped on the front lawn of the Kingdom of Atlas, the teenage cadets will find themselves attending the Atlas Huntsman Academy while also trying to find a way home, or at the very least, a means of communicating with Earth. The events of the campaign will line up such that the arrival of the cadets will coincide roughly with the beginning of RWBY, and will be roughly 9 months prior to the events that sparked the Third Tiberium War on Earth. It is a time of relative peace on both worlds, where the future looks bright, but unfortunately, it's merely the calm before the storm. And then, this is the official pitch. In 1995, an alien crystal known as Tiberium arrived on Earth, and the world is changed forever. 5 decades later, the world is on the verge of either saving itself or extinction. The Global Defense Initiative and the Empire of the Rising Sun are the last refuges of what was considered the civilized world, working towards overcoming the calamity in progress. Meanwhile, the Brotherhood of Nod continues to undermine their efforts at every opportunity, and the mutants of the Forgotten play all sides to their own advantage whenever possible. After 2 world wars and a Skynet-style machine uprising, the Earth stands upon the precipice of catastrophe. But there is still hope. The last 16 years have been relatively quiet, with little terrorist activity. On another world known as Remnant, there has been relative peace for 80 years. The creatures, known collectively as Grimm, are a constant threat, but major cities and fortified towns in the Four Kingdoms have proven to be able to keep their people safe. Even so, huntsmen and huntresses continue to be trained first at the various combat schools and then at the Huntsman Academies themselves. With the 40th biennial Vital Festival on the horizon, this year being hosted by the Kingdom of Vale and Beacon Academy, it would appear to the populace that all is well. As both worlds will shortly discover, believing that all is well and that old enemies have been defeated may lead to their downfall. When everything goes wrong, it will be up to the next generation to prevent the loss of 2 worlds and to see them ushered into a brighter future. Welcome to RWBY, Tiberian Multiverse. I homebrewed the worlds of Bayonetta and Devil May Cry in my homebrew campaign. One thing I really love about these worlds is the demons. I made the devils the law-loving, calmer evil, while the demons are wilder, like the regular demon and devil mechanic. But there is one major thing that I have changed from the official rule set, and that is the Blood Wars have ended. The devils and the demons are forced to live together in the Hells, and I have also changed the Hells. I adapted the 9 Hells from Dante's Inferno, but that's beside the point. The names and looks are based off of these games. The demons in Bayonetta have such cool names, so I decided to adapt them into my world. I have also added the witch and patron dynamic from Bayonetta, as they are pretty close in the games. Hold on a second. I don't think there's any real demons in Bayonetta. They're all angels or angelic forms. They're not demons, they're angels. Demons are in Devil May Cry, so you might want to look into that. The Doors idea from Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh no, no! Where each door is an alternate reality where something is different. It actually helps the group grow chaos, as they can revisit some of their past campaigns that I ran that inevitably fell apart, that some of them even actually played, leading them to meeting their alternate reality selves. And it also allows me to keep the same campaign setting, but have each reality be slightly different. For example, there's one where the big bad evil guy already won, one where the events are a week in the past, one where a bakery blew up. This bakery is a major part of the campaign, but the players don't know it, and many more. Not a full setting, but I have reoccurring NPCs from the Henry Stickmin games. My players absolutely love Charles. Not 5th edition, but for 3.5 in Pathfinder, I just started a game in a world of my own making that's a mix of Horizon Zero Dawn and Assassin's Creed Valhalla together with a few additions of my own. We've only played 3 sessions so far, but my players seem to enjoy it. That sounds kinda cool. So, not so much for worlds, but I drew heavy inspiration from the Dead Space franchise to develop the big bad evil guy in their cult. The cult is basically unitology, and the big bad evil guy is essentially Emrakul, the promised end from Magic the Gathering. The way the big bad evil guy twists people to her will is very similar to the markers in Dead Space, though. As for monsters that the party encounters, Monster Hunter is where all but 4 of the titans of my world were derived, and where all the draconic species they fight are actually from. I homebrewed in the concept of an entire city slowly being outfitted for an all-out fighting tournament to the death! It's based on the game called Mad World, where the PCs, while discovering out why it's being held so suddenly, must survive entire areas throughout the city and score points via experience, depending on how creatively they defeat an enemy and how much they utilize the environment. A boss fight is initiated after the party reaches a certain point threshold leveling up, which I try to make sure isn't too big of a hurdle. Do great! And you get colorful and unhinged commentary from the two giving a sleigh-by-sleigh accounts of the festivities, Hazard, Buckshot Holmes, and his co-commentator, Grease Creeley. Current Pathfinder world takes from way too many franchises, but surprisingly, a majority of my world is taken from MLP G4 and a hint of G5, of all things just my takes on it. So, for instance, the main characters of the series are transformed into gods, and I went to build out the world from there. I am a huge weeb and nerd. I have homebrewed Toho, a setting born from a series of bullet games that are very embedded in internet culture into my own homebrew setting, from characters, attacks, abilities, items, races, plot lines, plot twists, and even civilizations. But I am a huge fan of Eldritch horrors and Eldritch mystery games. I added in stuff I found from World of Horror, one bit-like game that focuses on staving off a cult summoning an eldritch god. Darkest Dungeon, gritty dungeon crawler management game. Cultist Simulator, a management game that uses cards and you need to ascend to godhood following some esoteric knowledge. And lastly, Fallen London, a browser game that has some very neat stories and things you don't want to know, like a certain name. I put in something from them all, from traits inspired from characters to items used and abused in them. I fully endorse exploiting those games and settings and homebrewing stuff from them into your game. Well, one of the reoccurring antagonists that I've homebrewed into my Radiant Citadel campaign, Blast Powder, is from an alternate version of Greyhawk that takes very heavy influence from League of Legends, specifically from Arcane. Blast Powder is literally Jinx from League of Legends as a Tabaxi Artificer. She's using a homebrew subclass that one of my players created. The players love her. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell. And of course, in the comments below, let us know, what alternate settings did you use from other universes, games, movies, books, anything, have you homebrewed to use in 5th edition? Or some other TTRPG. We'd love to know. Let us know. We love you all. Be safe, be happy. See you next time. Bye for now.